The modern gaming industry is over. Everyone knows Western media has gone downhill. Unfortunately, Japan is now falling down the same path. In this video, we'll be going over 4 games that highlight the problems of the gaming industry and how woke it's gotten. And if you still have a problem with that term by the end of this video, you're probably woke. But first, let's take a look at a game that's defying all of the odds. Stellar Blade is an action-adventure game made by Korean developer Shift Up. The game has been highly anticipated for years due to its inspiration from Nier Automata, one of the best games of this generation. As the game's getting closer to release, it's gotten more attention from the West, who might be unfamiliar with how Eastern games look, especially the female characters. Recently, the game has gotten more attention after they fired 2 employees for being feminists. At least that's what the feminists claim. Obviously, it wasn't that they were fired for their way of thinking. That's just an excuse. If you separate your personal life from your work, that shouldn't matter. But what probably ended up happening is that the radical feminist group, because it was quite literally a radical feminist group, probably started affecting this workplace. And I don't even know what they were doing there in the first place, because if they know what company was behind Stellar Blade, this developer, Shift Up, is famous for Nikkei, a gacha game known for its fan service. Why are feminists working at a company known for sexualizing female characters? Just doesn't add up. Oh, and the founder of the company also consistently uses AI. Keep this in mind. It's going to come back with the games we discuss. Leftists hate AI. If I say generate an attractive woman, well, what do you think will show up? Just a little food for thought. After they dropped their new trailer, as usual, people reacted on Twitter. We got this guy Kareem talking about the graphics of the game and throwing out those usual words like over-sexualization and equating it to the faces of a child. Really freaking weird. Well, yeah, I think it's really freaking weird that you think that way. He then goes on to talk about, and if you find this arousing, you need to get all your hard drives and phones checked by the FBI. Ha ha ha, oh so funny. Well, I think you need to get your brain checked by a doctor, or you need to go see a psychologist or something, because if you are equating these video game characters and you're thinking of children, yeah, seek help, man. He then doubles down on it by saying that the faces look like little girls, which we all know is just your classic racism whenever Asian women are involved, especially the fit, attractive, fully grown ones like the one that the main character is based off of. Before this, it was revealed that the main character of the game was based off of a 3D body scan from an actual Korean model. And of course, Twitter's reaction was crazy. If you find her sexy, you might just be a pedo. She has the body of a 12-year-old. Yeah, she's 12 alright. 12 out of 10. Alright. So I responded saying, if you don't, you might just be gay, or racist, or obese. Because let's face it, if you don't find her conventionally attractive, you're probably in one of those 3 categories. And you know it's got to be bad when Ian Miles Chung is agreeing with you, which, if you didn't know, is one of the worst people on Twitter. So you scroll around this guy Kareem, he's pretty much a Karen's profile, and you find that he's an Xbox fanboy, which is a problem because this game is a PlayStation exclusive, aka he's just using this to fuel his console wars. And I mean, I can't even blame him. He's just playing the game. This is the same game that those corporations take advantage of every year during Pride Month, where you'll just see them change their profile pictures with rainbow flags and emojis. And all the virtue signalers on Twitter are going to fall for it and give them free advertising. And so he's just taking advantage of that free engagement for his Xbox fanboyism. In the next tweet, we have Twitter users complaining about Stellar Blade being a thirst trap, outdated graphics, using sex to sell, and of all things, complaining about the running animation, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, the running animation is not the most realistic. But here's the thing, I'm not really looking for realism in these type of games. It's clear Stellar Blade is an over-exaggerated action game, so they're definitely going to exaggerate this running animation. And the thing is, if you want realism, at a certain point, every game is just going to start to look the same because there's really only one version of reality. Anyways, as usual with these types of people who are like complaining about anime fan service and whatnot, you go through their likes and then you'll see, well, it looks like they liked Starfield butts, but no one's going to call them out for it because, in fact, if you like their type of butt, you'll be praised. That's called the double standard. And companies like IGN are just using this. We're living in a world where IGN can show a video of Solid Snake's butt. Like, oh my god, they nerfed Solid Snake's booty, bring it back. Wonder what would happen if you replace that with a female character instead. To find out, we have to go inside the woke mind. We have to go to Reddit. So we have this post here labeled satire, and they're making this little joke. They're saying, I too appreciate the polygons of a 3D character's ass than feminism. Oh my god, guys, I'm so funny. And they have like over 5,000 likes, which I guess it's Reddit. 5,000 upvotes, probably more by the time I actually record this, is just pretty standard for this type of stuff. The first comment mentions the game being made in Korea, and we'll see some other people mentioning how if you pull up a random K-drama, not a single woman or man for that matter with a BMI over 25, 137 upvotes. Now, we scroll down a bit further because, as you'll see, the average all-age BMI for Korean men is 24.3, and for Korean women is 23.4. This is the mean average as well, not the median, and is likely to be skewed higher due to the very high body weight of obese people. Koreans are just healthier. Sorry. Negative 17 points. Downvoted for speaking the truth. Classic Reddit. So here's the thing about these types of people. They're always talking about representation and whatnot, but when it comes to a Korean game, a Korean TV show, Korean media, well, obviously, they're representing Korean people to an extent. But these types of people, who do they want to be represented? They want themselves to be represented because all they see is self-inserts, and I guess they're self-inserting very high body weight into Korean media because I guess they're land whales. Classic Reddit. So this whole post is talking about how they're not appreciating feminism and appreciating the polygons. And what is it? Like, pull up that pancakes and waffles tweet where you can appreciate both feminism and the polygons. But to be honest, if it was me being in that company, I would appreciate the polygons because the end user, the customer, is literally staring at those polygons, especially the behind of that character. And that's what I want to optimize for. I'm not making a feminism product. I'm making a video game for a specific audience. And that's exactly what the CEO and the director of Stellar Blade is saying. Kim Hyung-tae says they put special attention on the back of Eve. When it comes to the design, we put special attention on the back of the character because the player is always facing the back of the character when they're playing. That's what they see the most of, so we thought this was pretty important. He knows where the priorities are. And I'm trying to make more profit, so I want to please the customer. But in some cases, it might be perceived that the other way around might bring more profits, as we're going to see with Japan. Sega, the Japanese gaming company, was recently on the news for their take on localization. They shared an article about how localization affects everything from slang to costumes. That's funny, because Shift Up, the Korean developer behind Stellar Blade, clearly doesn't care what the West thinks about their costumes because they're quite revealing. If that wasn't enough, Sega was criticized for implying that violence in video games could affect real life. Fiction does not affect real life. These people haven't heard that correlation doesn't imply causation. If someone becomes a criminal, does that mean that Call of Duty caused it? Pretty sure all of us grew up playing games like Call of Duty and GTA, and I'm pretty sure all of us drink water too. I guess water is causing violence now. Gotta cancel water. The funny thing is, there's research showing GTA lowers violence. Keep in mind that this is the same line of logic that the Twitter freaks use when talking about your favorite anime girls, fan service, lollies, etc. It doesn't make sense. But because these people, leftists, actually think this way, we get things like woke translators. And I know they always put woke in quotes and pretend like they don't know what we mean by it, but having stories with diverse characters, be it trans, gay, feminist, whatever, is not woke. I know you're looking at my K-on picture and laughing right now, but the truth is I really don't care what race or gender you are. You want to be trans? Great. That's valid, as the kids say. But know what you see is actually the media taking advantage of your identity by being woke. Oh, there's that boogeyman word, woke. What does it actually mean? Well, in this case with Sega, these vocalizers are changing the material at the source level. This is exactly what we don't want. This is self-censorship. If you want freedom of expression, you don't want this. You want stories created from the ground up without limits. This is going to lead to creative bankruptcy that we're seeing with things like Disney. Ironically enough, speaking about Disney, right now we're seeing the beginnings of self-censorship with anime. Did you know the Bleach anime changed lines for the Western audience? But even if you were Japanese, you wouldn't know because they not only changed the subtitles, but they had the Japanese voice artists record two separate versions, one for the West, one for Japan. So even if you knew Japanese, if you watched Bleach in America, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was different. They're so scared of offending Westerners that they had to record two different versions. Get that into your head. It's actually crazy how they did this. I showed some Japanese people born in Japan, and they couldn't even believe it. But that's just the beginning. Eventually, they're just going to record one version and we won't even be able to tell what the truth really was. New Japanese creators will grow up in this censored environment and then they'll also create stories like that because they didn't know how it was in the past. Japanese companies want this because they want to save money with a single version for a global, modern audience with less resources. Unfortunately, mega corporations will always chase money, no matter how small it is. These woke, inclusive ideologies create safe spaces where everyone feels safe, and that means it's a danger to the future of entertainment, like these video games. That sounds crazy, but if you cater to everyone, you cater to no one. If you want a catered gaming experience, no longer can you trust these giant mega corps. You're gonna have to look into more niche, smaller companies. Unlike Stellar Blade, these companies don't respect the customer, but they don't think you can handle it. I say, let the market decide. And PalWorld is a game that knows the market. If you don't know PalWorld, let's just say it's Pokemon with guns, but these tweets will pretty much give you a rough idea. PalWorld devs being based. So they say the decision to make it Pokemon with guns was because they were worried the game would not be a global success unless they added guns to it because Americans like to shoot things. The gender-neutral Type A character was likewise because Americans sometimes want to make very ugly characters. Okay, so I don't know how true this is from the PalWorld devs, but the thing is this post was actually seen by none other than Elon Musk himself, and it still hasn't been community noted, so I'm gonna assume it's somewhat true. You could call this based, but at the end of the day, you're not a male or female in this game. You're body type 1 or 2. It doesn't matter if you wanted to or not. PalWorld devs knew the market, including its political climate. It's funny how activists complain about being oppressed minorities, but the reality is that the left holds cultural influence to the point where small companies cannot make the game without changing gender to body types. If I were to take a guess, I'd say they want to target the existing Pokemon fans as well, many of which are left-leaning too, like progressives, which we'll be seeing some examples of. We have artists complaining about PalWorld and intellectual property, but at the same time, the artists were using Pokemon's intellectual property with stickers saying things like, "Eat the rich." Yeah, I don't know what is with these people that say, like, "eat the rich," but, like, God, you know that guy Hassan? Freaking, like, yeah, it's all hypocrisy. In another tweet, we have more hypocrisy, complaining about PalWorld and bootlegging, but it turns out that they themselves sell bootleg Nintendo merch. This is a pretty common complaint from these artist types, which are exceedingly left-leaning. Artists are against these types of things, like copying, whether it's tracing, bootlegging, or using their data for AI. It's kind of funny how the main complaints were against copying from Nintendo, whether it was unfounded claims of PalWorld using AI or just copying existing Pokemon designs. All of it boils down to copyright. And you'd think leftists in this post-capitalistic world they envision would hate big companies and copyright, but nope, they're defending it. Pretty big fan of PalWorld. I've been playing it quite a bit. I want to share this one article I found that was pretty funny. So PETA, the animal protection agency, shared this article, and you'd think it's a joke, but nope, it's very real. PETA unironically is sharing this vegan guide to PalWorld, but the guide itself is satire. It's literally making fun of all this moral outrage from all these Twitter people, but PETA unironically fell for it. They seriously tweeted this out without doing any research, didn't even bother to read the article. And speaking of reading, the next game has writers that haven't even read what the game is about. So imagine a game that just came out and it's already struggling to keep players. Reviews are terrible across the board. So bad that the developer is deleting reviews. Sounds like some quick cash grab slop, right? Well, that's funny, because this game was actually in development for 7 years, potentially costing hundreds of millions of dollars, and part of a world-famous franchise. That's right. This is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You can tell that they haven't read anything about the source material based on what was written for the game. To see how bad the writing is, just look at the character bio for Wonder Woman. They've solved so many of our society's ills: broken democracy, lagging technology, and toxic masculinity. You get it, girl. Go females, or whatever the frick, female power. Is that what they say? It's like black power except female. I don't even know. Anyways, so from the files of Lex Luthor. So this is how you know the writers don't know a single thing, because Lex Luthor is a super villain. So if you didn't know, this guy is like a evil genius, mad scientist, and he's also like corporate billionaire, a corrupt billionaire. So he's not thinking about this. He's not talking about toxic masculinity. He is toxic masculinity. Like it's talking about, like, I assume because one wonders why a woman of her caliber and ancestry. Nah, the only thing he's wondering is how to take advantage of these minorities. Like that's actually Lex Luthor for you. But these writers, which Sweet Baby Inc. is one of them. I don't know if they wrote this line, but these are like contractors that work with gaming companies to, remove the sensitivities and create it for a modern audience and all that stuff. They see this character Wonder Woman, which conveniently is a female for them, and they start inserting their politics, even if it makes no sense, since this is from the perspective of Lex Luthor, a supervillain. So, yeah, I don't know, like, it wouldn't make any sense them saying this, but they wrote it still because the ESG points, which I might have to make a separate video for because I'm not going to go on a rant on that. So some people, like learning the law here, pointed out the graphics of the game. What do you pick, Western Bros? AI or woke steady? AI, you got a picture of Wonder Woman, and on the right side, you got a picture of woke Western ESG Rocksteady developers. So the thing about AI is you're just going to type, generate a picture of Wonder Woman, and it's going to generate the picture, and this is basically what it's going to look like. And this is a thing that a lot of leftists, they don't like about AI. They don't like how if you type generate a picture of Wonder Woman, it's not going to look like the one on the right, because the one on the left, like especially if you type something like beautiful, attractive, that's basically what it's going to be. But it's not going to generate the one on the right. The one on the right, you're going to have to type something like generate a masculine version of Wonder Woman. And for you guys that don't get it, this is clearly people might like not notice the difference. It's honestly not that big of a deal. Like if I saw this in my video game and if the game was good, I didn't care. But the thing is, they're purposely doing this. You can clearly tell, like, the jawline is a lot more chiseled and squared off. The one on the left, it's much more tapered and rounded off. And we're not even going to talk about her body, because that type of body, you're not even going to see that in the West anymore. Not even in games or in real life, to be honest. So the next tweet got me a bit heated, you'll see. So on the left, you got the screenwriter of 2 of the Batman Arkham games, and then on the right, you have 2 writers of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. One of them, the CEO, Sweet Baby Inc., the Diversity and Equity Inclusion company. It all makes sense now, which is unfortunately making sense for me, because as a longtime fan of the Batman Arkham series, I still have like Batman Arkham Knight installed on my computer, which it's literally on my desktop right now, which means a lot because with how big games are getting, I usually uninstall games, so it's survived all these years. And yeah, seeing this series gone down the drain is kind of sad, especially when it's gone down the drain and you see this. What do you see? You can see 2 women, 2 people of color, one of them being a little bit more colored, and I'm talking about not because she's black, purple, pink. Yeah, you get the deal. You go through these people at Sweet Baby Inc.'s profiles and you'll be seeing things like rainbow flags and emojis and all these like pronouns. It's just part of the package with the ESGs, I guess. And I mean, they could just do their job normally, which is not really a normal job, to be honest, because their whole company involves this. But instead, they actually go further beyond and insert these politics into the games when they make absolutely no sense. Crazy thing is that people are actually defending Lex Luthor's speech on toxic masculinity with this Reddit post with 816 upvotes. Wokeness is Suicide Squad's least problematic element. And you'll see these types of people. You're trying to talk about Lex Luthor and the bio and the poor writing, and then they'll try to say something else. Like the biggest comment here. There's so many valid complaints about Suicide Squad, and these people are focusing on woke. An amused emoji, 490 upvotes. So there's literally nothing of value was said. And you gotta scroll down 9 comments to see someone say, Suicide Squad has a lot of problems, but to be honest, the Wonder Woman bio is pretty weird. It's supposed to be written by Lex Luthor, so why is an evil billionaire? Yeah, basically, this is the only comment with reasoning in it, like actual logic. They're actually talking about Lex Luthor. They're actually talking about the writing, and it only has 37 upvotes. Versus the biggest upvoted thing with 490 upvotes, just complaining about how people are focusing on woke. Literally nothing of value. Yeah, this is just the types of people we're dealing with. They never really address the argument, or literally they never give anything of value. They're not talking about the writing at all, because what more can you expect from these people? They don't understand anything. They don't understand what Sweet Baby Inc. is even. This person is giving a description about Sweet Baby Inc. and then essentially it looks like they're just a writing consultant company. Game devs need help writing a story that connects point A to B to C, and Sweet Baby Inc. is brought on to help to do so, is my guess at the workflow. No. See, these people, they don't know DEI, ESGs, and how that plays into it. This is more bigger than they realize. They're just like, it's just a writing consultant company. No, game devs don't need help. If they needed this help this bad, they would just be hired internally instead of consulting with this external company. And that's the sad part, is a lot of these companies actually have people like this actually on their team for these types of reasons, which I'm not going to go into because it's going to be a really long video about ESGs and whatnot. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to save that for another day. But anyways, TLDR, woke. And if you don't know what that means, you're woke. Yeah, let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to me over, and see ya.